Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Theorycraft. My name is Anders and I like throwing grenades, and today I've got some strong opinions about Inferno and what it means to retake this bomb site. Now, before we get to it, I have another grenade I have to get out of the way first, so let's just dive into the middle and then we'll get back to the retaking of the B bomb site. Now, if you align yourself up against this orange wall and kind of slide forward until you are just eclipsing this particular piece of white mortar, so you just want that to be kind of gone like this, then you should be able to aim into this corner and throw a grenade that just bounces off and lands right there. So it takes a little bit to get used to. You can sort of do it on opposite sides of this piece of wood. So either, you know, a little bit deeper in like this. I think the easier way to do it is to do it out here. Now, the reason we want to do this is because if you throw this grenade pretty quickly, which again, you should, with a little bit of practice, be able to do it pretty consistently, you basically get a grenade that lands and pops almost instantly. So it lands and it's popped and you're ready to run this way. The advantage to this over a more elaborate grenade that sort of falls off the roof or off the wall even is that the other grenades give a lot more time for the CTs to throw counter utility, you know, or maybe blow open the smoke with an HE or throw down an incendiary grenade or whatever. This grenade, it pops a lot faster, and I think it could be really fun. You get somebody to flash your way through. Here's what it looks like from the other side. You're standing like this, and the grenade lands, and it's much, much quicker than it normally would be. It doesn't land on the ground and bounce around. So that's one idea. Now back to the B-bomb side. Now, normally in some of these Theorycraft videos, I just introduce a bunch of different grenades that I think are fun or cool in other ways. I've spent some time on the stream with my community trying to figure out. Now, this one is going to be a little bit more opinionated because I actually went through and looked at a bunch of data for retaking the B-bomb site, and I thought I would find something, anything, and I didn't. I found essentially just flashbangs that are thrown deep into the bomb site. And I think the rule seems to be you want the flashbangs to pop, you know, somewhere up here so that your teammates can sort of, you know, run out without getting flashed, and that's about it. You know, maybe some teams will throw, you know, an HE that lands somewhere back there. They'll very often throw a molotov like this, which is almost always going to be somewhat useless because it'll leave a gap in the corner, very often at least. It happens a lot because what people end up doing is they end up throwing it like this, and it actually sometimes will bounce far enough forward that it lands into this little cubby, not in this case, but it'll land in this cubby, and as a result, there is a space in here where somebody could still hold, and that's really, really bad for a retake if someone's back here and you think you've already Molotov them out. So I'm going to try and propose some ideas. I guess the edgy statement would be something like, nobody can retake B because nobody has any grenades for retaking the B bomb site. So that's going to be the headline. Here are some pictures that I think make sense. The first one is for molotoving that deep position, and you can do that all the way from back here. So if you jump up like this, and as soon as you're up, you're just kind of aiming basically somewhere on this line and a little bit lower. And then you're just going to be running forward to throw the grenade. And it's going to bounce all the way back here. And it blows up in the air. And it is going to cover every single portion back here. I think that's really powerful. That's something you can do as you're throwing grenades. Somebody else is flashing your way through, right? It's going to be really hard to deal with back here. And, you know, to run out in the open is probably going to be pretty dangerous. And you're so not exposed back there. So that's my first pitch. Easy to throw, hard to fuck up in my opinion. Now, the next grenade that I want to try and see if I can land is essentially either a Molotov or an HE or both, depending on what you have. I should have said this earlier, but one of the criticisms that I have to shut down at the start is, obviously, one of the big problems of retaking the B bomb site is you might not have any grenades if you're rotating in from the A bomb site. You might have already used them. I'm going to conveniently just ignore that and say, that's fine, but sometimes you have grenades, and even when people do, they don't use them. So, for anyone that's already typing in the comments, you're right. Very often you won't have the grenades, but I've noticed that even when people have grenades, they don't know how to use them for the site, and that's annoying. So here's a trick. If you align yourself with this wall, and then you kind of look at the shadow that goes across here, we're trying to run forward until our crosshairs kind of meet this the lamp, or maybe a little bit beyond, but not too much beyond. If we do that, we're going to get a grenade that kind of, you know, neatly dives back down behind the box back there. So just a question of running and getting the timing right. Now, that in itself with the incendiary might not be the biggest deal. I think with an HE, it's a lot more fun because it'll do so much more damage than the ones that are thrown right next to it. And again, it's fairly easy. The same trick can actually be repeated from anywhere back here. So the idea is you could have a teammate standing there with a Molotov or an incendiary. You could be standing here, and you could both be running forward at the same time and land grenades simultaneously back here. Meaning if anybody is holding back here, if it's an incendiary or double HE or grenade and incendiary, they're going to die from this. That's too much, right? This is going to be an enormous amount of damage that lands on you. So I think that's worth doing, or at least attempting. It's better than what people are currently doing. Flashbangs are also interesting on this bomb site. I've noticed, again, like I said, people just tend to throw some flashes over the wall like this. And again, the power of this flashbang is that your teammates can kind of rotate in like this and fight. But the downside is it doesn't really flash anybody. Like, unless they are also swinging out to take the fight, it's probably not going to do anything. Now, I've tinkered around a lot with this, and I think that you can throw a better one. So here's one pitch for this. If you stand in the back like this and you aim at the bottom of this little supporting arch thing and just do a basic jump throw, you're going to get a grenade that also kind of looks like it just goes into the sky. But in reality, it's going to be able to flash people holding this angle. Not totally, but quite a bit, because it goes up in this little... in the window up here, basically. If they're holding this way, it will absolutely destroy them. And that goes, you know, even if they're holding sort of straight in here. Not, I don't know why they would be, but if they're looking straight, it's still going to flash them. Obviously, if they're playing closer to this, it's not going to have the same effect, and that's no way to do that. If someone's holding back here, it's going to be a really powerful pop flash as well for them. And if they're holding a little bit further back like this, they will be able to see it for just a second in the sky, right? So that might not be as effective. We can't solve all problems at once. If you look back here and they're holding this angle to try and stop the church, it'll do something. It won't be the most efficient flashbang, but it might just offset them a little bit. And similarly here, again, maybe not the most efficient flashbang, but it'll do something to make people look away. That's one grenade that I think flashes a bunch of different positions, and certainly I think better than just randomly tossing grenades into the bomb site and hoping that it works out. Now, for your people coming out of church, yes, they will have to... They can't just be running out the way they normally would. If they look this way, it's going to be fine, right? They're going to be okay. But no doubt if they clear the other way, there is a big chance that they're going to get much more flash. So that's just something you and your team have to think about and know. But I reckon with the right setup, if you have everyone in position, you've got one guy throwing a flashbang, maybe another one throwing this deep incendiary that's going to land all the way back here. If I'm holding this position and that flashbang comes in and I'm running away from the fire, it is so hard to escape that. So I think it could work. I think these grenades will do a better job than whatever nonsense people are not even trying right now. Because like I said, I went through the demos. I cannot find any real retake utility. People just do not do it. Even when they have the nades, they just toss them at random from my point of view. So if you like this, remember to comment, leave a like, and hopefully join me on the stream where we do a lot of this stuff. These have been Anders approved grenades, and I'll see you in the next video.